everything around me.
Coaches, what's going on? It's Ian Tatum, back with you, another podcast. Appreciate everybody watching the last video and all the rest of the videos on the channel. Today we have my father, Tyres Tatum. He's going to share with you a little bit about what he's going on in his life from the very beginning to where he is now, whether it be farming, education, his love of firearms, what he's doing in politics around the state of North Carolina, and his barbecue channel, Barbecue 101, and just cooking in general. You won't want to miss this one. Appreciate my father joining me today. All right, so we're here with my father, Tyres Tatum. If you keep up with me on social media, especially in the last year, especially through the summer, a little bit through the fall, you'll know that we're putting out videos for his cooking show, which we will get into later, so we're not going to get to that right now, but you will recognize his face. So this is my father, Tyres Tatum. What's going on?
Hey, the first.
Yeah, Tyres the first. So we're going to get into a little bit of an interview style. We're just going to talk about an introduction. So for those that don't know who you are, which there aren't many, but a lot of the coaches that will watch it from my side, tell them a little bit who Tyres Tatum is.
All right, so I'm Tyres Tatum. I'm Ian's daddy, and I'm Tyres the first. He has an older brother, Tyres the second, and coming February 25th, Tyres the third is on his way. We're going to call him Trey, and as his little sister, big sister calls him, Baby Papu. So I'm Papu. So for those who don't know me, let me give you a quick rundown. I am a son of a farmer. My dad was a tobacco farmer. His dad was a tobacco farmer. My grandpa was a custodian. My daddy was a custodian. I've been a custodian. We don't shy away from working. I've raised tobacco. I put myself through college at the community college, working in the grocery store. I transferred to North Carolina State University, and I graduated in 1986 and got married and moved out to the Midwest, where there aren't a lot of black people, but we moved out to Omaha, Nebraska. My wife and I did. We stayed about a year. We came back. I sold agricultural chemicals for a while. I started teaching high school. I taught for 5 years, local high school. I was the last agriculture teacher at Madison Manning High School, and I was the first agriculture teacher at McMichael High School, which is only a mile from here. And I got bored with that, and I just decided that I wanted to do something differently, and I decided to go to work for the North Carolina Department of Agriculture as a pesticide inspector, which I was very successful at for 5 years. Got a great job offer to go to Atlanta to work for the U.S. EPA as a pesticide inspector. So I covered all of the states in the Southeast, Kentucky, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Mississippi, and Alabama. But my number one responsibility is for the state of South Carolina. And we were only like 50 minutes away, Atlanta to Pendleton, South Carolina. I was over there all the time. I love South Carolina. I love working with Clemson University, which is where the pesticide regulation department was housed. After a period of time, my mother got sick, and we decided to come home. Ian was just a little bitty boy. He was only like 2 years old while we were down there. So we decided to come home, and I left that career, went to work for the city of Winston-Salem in inspections, and I did building inspection, code enforcement, and I was the boss. I had 45 inspectors under me, heating and air, building, electrical, zoning, all worked for me. And we got things done in Forsyth County and Winston-Salem for the 2 years I was there, and had a boss that just really couldn't get along with. That's a long other story. But I decided to leave that job, took a job working for Homeland Security, emergency management. I've been in that job ever since. I'm getting ready to retire next year, and you're going to move on to something else, a new phase in my life.
All right, so pretty much went through a whole Zoom from timeline of your whole life. So let's talk about, let's backtrack and let's talk about education. let's talk about when you went to state and you went there for agriculture, because you said, Poppy was a farmer, his dad was a farmer, you are a farmer. So let's talk about you getting into agriculture education and teaching ag, and then from there just farming in general.
Well, I got into ag ed because I was a member of the Future Farmers of America, and I was very lucky to be a state officer from 1981 to 1982. And I traveled all over North Carolina going to FFA chapters, encouraging people to become members, get involved, and encouraging people to find out what FFA was all about. So I did that, and most state officers in North Carolina, 100%, go to NC State University. So when I got out of the community college, I transferred to state. I had two options. I could have either gone to A&T or go to NC State. And the reason I chose NC State, and the factor that all the ag people go there, is that NC State offered me money to go to school there. I needed scholarship money to go to school. State offered that. I got several scholarships that helped pay for my education, and that's why I wound up there. So I was on the 5-year plan. So I went to the community college for 2 years, and all my credits didn't transfer. It's not like it is now. So my credits all didn't transfer, so I had to stay an extra year, which was fine. I was at state only for 3 years. I was there the year after they won the second national championship under Jim Valvano. So that was a motivator to go there. So I went to NC State, and again, I graduated ag ed, and I had no intentions of teaching agriculture, but I went there because one of my mentors, Ronnie Atkins, who lives down here in Eden, motivated me to go to state and be an ag teacher, follow his path. And but I saw other things at NC State. Agriculture is a huge world. There's a lot of things that you can do with that degree. So I decided to go a different route, and I went into chemical sales. And I was the only one in my entire program area who went a different route, and I went into chemical sales.
Okay, so now, we'll skip forward to where you get your job at Madison Meta and you're teaching agriculture. And I know your stance on education. I know you're an advocate for education, but let's talk about you as a teacher. And how was that?
It was difficult. You don't remember what it was like. It was 5 years of brutal living hell that we went through. And it just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the stress I put on y'all. It wasn't worth the stress that I put on my wife. And I said, there's got to be a better way to make a living. And I walked away from it. I completely walked away. Now, I know you're trying and you're going to be certified. You're teaching in a school. I'm still certified. I'm a state certified teacher. You never lose it. So I can go back tomorrow, start teaching tomorrow. I just choose not to do that because I can do and be more effective in other ways, not being in a classroom every single day.
Okay. So I want to get back to you teaching, because when you teach other things, we're going to circle back in a second. But let's talk about you as a farmer. So you prime tobacco, you raise tobacco. Talk about that, and talk about just your experiences, and just talk about farming in general, everyday life.
Well, so I'm the fourth of 7 kids, and we all have college graduates. We all have college degrees. My dad used to boast that he had the highest educated tobacco primers in the whole state of North Carolina, and he did, because we all had degrees, and we were all working on degrees. And that's because when he was in the military in Korea and came out, the GI Bill did not give him the opportunity to go to school. He was guaranteed to go, but with discrimination, he wasn't able to go to college, which is the one thing he wanted to do more than anything else, was to go to college. So we did that for him. He instilled in all of us to go to college, and we all did, much like I've done with my kids. All 4 of my kids have gone to college, and all of them have degrees. Some of them have 2 degrees. Ian's working on another one. So education is extremely important to our family. Education is the vehicle to get everything you want out of life to be successful. You need an education. And that's why it's so important. Now, let me back up, and I'm gonna circle back as you said. Now, for me, there's a lot of great organizations out there. Now, Ian worked in robotics, and that is the foundation that got Ian motivated to go to school and get through college. So first, FRC robotics is a fantastic program for kids. It's not the only one. There are a lot of others. But for me, the future farmers are directly responsible for me going to college. That's why I went to NC State, because I had that background. And I had a lot of friends, and your friends push you, like your friends did for you, Ian, pushing you through to encourage you to graduate. And that's what it was for me. NC State FFA was the vehicle. And I have a college degree right now for that one reason. That is the reason why I have one.
All right. So education. So let's talk about the next thing you use your education for. Well, not your education, but nothing you fight for education for. Let's talk about one of your passions. Let's talk about firearms. So
okay.
Anybody that can see you right now can see that, one, you have an NRA shirt, quarter zip on. You have a Winchester gun safe behind you. What you can't see is there's another one next to it, and then across the room there's another larger gun safe. There's Peter's one. And there's a larger gun safe across the room. So let's talk about your passion for firearms.
Okay, so you're right. I like firearms, and we're a Second Amendment family. I wear this NRA jacket proudly. I'm an NRA member, and you can say what you want. It's not a perfect organization, but it's the best thing out there going. The other groups, Grassroots North Carolina, it's a great organization. It's fantastic. I'm 100% dyed-in-the-wool Second Amendment guy. The Second Amendment backs up the First. It should have been the First Amendment, but the Second Amendment gives us and guarantees us our First Amendment rights to be able to say what we think and write whatever we want to write and say. No one can take that away from you. Many are going to try. Don't let them. You have the right to say what you think. You have a right to your opinion. You don't have a right to your own facts. So, as Ian said, we have gun safes. I teach concealed carry. I own a company, LLC, called Shooters Incorporated. We teach concealed carry. Any given weekend, if I'm not in a barbecue restaurant, I'm somewhere on a range. I'm in a classroom teaching people how to shoot firearms. But we do it safely. I started this business in 2004. We've never had an accident. No one's ever been hurt on my range. No one's ever going to be hurt on my range. Ian can tell you I'm extremely anal about gun safety. His brother, Tyres Tyres, works in a gun store. And even though he works in a gun store and he is an authority on firearms, there is no one who knows more about military surplus, mil-sup guns than Tyres does. And so I rely upon his knowledge of that, and I talk to him a lot about firearms, but I hold him accountable. I don't just assume that gun is empty and it's safe. I'll ask him. He double checks. We triple check. No one's ever going to get hurt around us. So we don't get offended if someone asks us, is that gun unloaded? Well, let's check it again. You can't check too much. So we believe in firearms. We have a lot of firearms. We invest. Ian had a .22 rifle before he was even born. My grandkids, the 5 I have now, one on the way, 6, they're going to have .22 rifles. That's my job. I'm buying them .22 rifles.
So where does your infatuation with guns come from? Because it didn't just hit you on the head one day. Yeah, I'm gonna get a gun. No. So where did that start?
Here's where it came from. I was fascinated with firearms as a kid. My dad had a .22 rifle. He had a 12-gauge shotgun. I have those now. My dad, his philosophy was, when you're older, you'll find someone who will teach you to be safe with the firearms, and you won't get hurt. I'm not sure that what I'm doing is the right way to do it. That's my dad's philosophy. I had to honor that, and I couldn't beat that. I couldn't fight it, so I lived with it. And the moment I got out of NC State University, I went and I found a gun class, and I started taking gun classes ever since. It takes a while. Everything can't be done in one day. It took me 2 years to get enough credits and classes through NRA to become a certified instructor. And there are people out there who will get in your way. A local police chief here, which I won't name, he's deceased now, told me there's no way I could become a firearms instructor because I wasn't a cop, I wasn't in the military, and there's no way I could ever become a firearms instructor. He's what we call wrong, and I proved him wrong, and I started this business. And it's running. It works. It's great. We want to go further. We want to go to the next level. Love to do an indoor gun range. But my wife is not quite allowing me to make that X on the dotted line to put up to $500,000 to build a gun range.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen unless you hit the lottery. So talk about, so what made you want to start your business? Because, okay, we talked about, okay, you like firearms. Okay. You talk about the guy, the sheriff, challenged you, said you couldn't do it. But that doesn't lead to, I'm going to start teaching concealed carry. So what made you want to be like, hey, I want to teach concealed carry?
Here's the reason why. There's no one here who looks like me who was teaching firearm classes. Wait, whoa, you're black and you teach gun classes? Yes. Black people own firearms. Yes, black people like firearms. It wasn't the money. People get in this and think they're going to make a lot of money. There's not a lot of money into this. You can make money. We have made money. It allows us to buy the firearms that you see around. But we got into it for the safety because we wanted to give an alternative to everybody, Tom, Dick, and Harry, Bubba running around, hey, watch this, getting people hurt. The videos you see online on YouTube where people give a female a firearm, it's too big for her, she shoots it, it flies, and it hits her in the top of the head. Those aren't funny. That ruins people to go out and get into this sport and practice the craft of firearm safety. But when they get hurt, they don't want to deal with this anymore. They don't want no part of it. And I don't want that to happen. So I never do that. My philosophy with firearms is to start small. Start with a 22. There is nothing wrong with a 22 handgun or 22 rifle. It's the foundation. It's the basis. Start small. Work your way up till you find your comfort zone. If that's a 30-30, then fine, shoot a 30-30. If it's a Mosin Nagant, 7.62 by 54, Russian sniper rifle, if that's your comfort zone, then shoot that. But don't let anyone tell you what you should own. There is no one who can tell you what's the best gun for you to own. My philosophy is find the gun that fits your hand. And when you find the gun that fits your hand, then that's your gun.
All right, so transitioning from firearms, let's talk about, we're not going to spend a lot of time on it, but there's certain things I want to talk about within this realm of what you do, is your realm of politics. So within the last, let's call it, 5-6 years or more, you've gotten into that realm.
Yes.
More heavily. Okay, you've always been near it, but more heavily. But let's talk about more specifically, you are the president of the North Carolina GOP men's group. Okay.
Okay, you're close.
Okay, you explain it. I'm just setting it up.
I'll correct it.
So you are the president of that group, and you have done a lot of good things with it, took it and ran with it. Explain what it is, why you got interested in doing it, and we'll talk about some details in a second.
Okay, so as Ian is telling y'all, I am the state president of the North Carolina Federation of Republican Men. It's a statewide organization made up of men. We do allow women to be associate members, but they can't hold an office. So as the state president, I am the cheerleader. I'm the leader of the men's club, and we have affiliate federation groups in counties. So when I started that we had 12, 15 men's groups. It was growing. Now that I had been men's president for a year and a half, and I'm coming up for re-election in June, we have grown to 45 men's groups and growing. So, so just put this in context so everybody understands. So the Men's Federation is not bound to the GOP. We are Republicans. Yes, I don't answer to the GOP. I answer to the men who are members of the Federation. So that makes me Captain Kirk. Okay, I get to pilot the ship, and I'm only doing this because I was asked to do so. I was asked 3 times. I turned it down 3 times. And finally, on the last time, I agreed because someone needed to lead the organization. My predecessor, Bob Pruitt, is a great man. He's a great mentor. But Bob wanted to step down, and he knew he was having some issues. And I won't go into that. It's not my business to share. So I turned it down 3 times. Finally, after some prayer overnight, I relented, and I said, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to run. And I ran against another gentleman who stepped up who wanted to be president as well. He went all over the state getting endorsements from people. He had endorsements from state senators, U.S. senators, congressmen, former GOP chairmen, local chairpersons all over North Carolina, a long list. And he came to the convention and he said, I'm endorsed by all these people. He spoke. And when he finished, I got to speak, and I said, I don't have any endorsements. I don't need any endorsements. I hadn't sought any endorsements. The only endorsement I need is your vote. And that's what won me the election. I had a game plan. I came in with a 10-point plan of what I want to accomplish in this men's group. And briefly, if I can go into that, Ian, this is what I said. When I grow the men's group, we are going to, this is only a state organization. We want to make it nationwide. There's a South Carolina men's group. There's a New York men's group. We are in talks with South Carolina, Georgia, Kentucky, Florida, Mississippi. We're trying to grow this group. That was one of my goals. I want a men's group in every single county, or if not 2. I want the men's group to be a force to be reckoned with. I want the men's group to be the go-to organization that helps get good, quality, conservative men elected to office. And that's what our state website says. That is our plan of organization. That's what we're dedicated to do. Men and women, we want to get good, conservative men and women elected to office. And that's what we're all about.
Okay. So I have a lot of people, a lot of guys. I mean, that might be GOP, Republican, whatever. That might want to.
Yes.
Okay. What counties? What new counties have you brought in? Don't have to go through all 45. Just real quick, just spout out some.
Right. So here locally, we are in talks with Yadkin, Stokes, Alamance, Lee, Chatham, Caldwell counties, just to name a few. And it takes some time. There's more to it than just say, hey, I want to start a group. You got to have a name. It has to have the word Republican in the title. You have to have a bank account. You have to be registered with the state of North Carolina because you're collecting funds. You have to have an EIN number. You have to have a list of officers. And you have to have a set of bylaws that you submit to us. And then with a membership fee, you become federated with the North Carolina Federation. So there's a little bit more to it. Ian, when I started this a year and a half ago and became president, I just knew we were going to get this done in a year's time. Okay. I was on fire, gangbusters. We're going everywhere. We're still going everywhere. It takes a lot of time. If people start with an idea, we hold a meeting. It's great. They're out inspired, gangbusters, and then it kind of tapers off. And then they got other things to do. They got family members. They got everything in their lives going on. This is not the only thing in their lives. So it takes a while. And it's not moving at my pace because we'd have 100 by now. We would. But it doesn't quite work that way. And that is one of the realities that I've had to live with, that things don't happen in my time. it happened at the speed of government.
Yeah. All right, so we'll move away from that. If you are interested, holla at me. We can get you connected somehow. But let's move to the fun stuff. This is one of the last things. We're going to talk about your passion for cooking, and more specifically, barbecue. So, like I said in the very beginning, if you followed us, we put out videos of him cooking different types of things, barbecuing, smoking, baking, cooking, frying, whatever it is, going to restaurants, trying out food, talking to business owners about their food, all these different type of stuff on YouTube. Barbecue 101. I will link it in the description. But we're gonna talk about that different types of stuff. We are not looking at a break. I'm calling it the end of season 1. We're gonna try and come back into season 2 real soon because I'm getting this started. I can get back in the flow of making videos for him because I do all the editing and uploading and stuff like that. So let's talk about Barbecue 101. But let's talk about where your passion for barbecue started.
Okay, so he's right. We call the show Barbecue 101. Now, we didn't pull this out of a hat. I can't tell y'all how many discussions we had trying to come up with a name. We came up with Barbecue 101 because we want to teach people about barbecue. So when you go to college, most of your classes are History 101, Science 101. This is the beginning. So we are the beginning. We're telling everybody everything. We're not holding anything back. We tell everything. So Barbecue 101 is what we came up with. And the center point of Barbecue 101 is the sauce. Okay? And I'll make this statement. This is my philosophy. And people don't agree with me, and that's fine. We can have a discussion. I don't care how you cook the barbecue. I don't care if it's wood. I don't care if it's charcoal. I don't care if it's electricity. I don't care. I've had good of everything. But I think the sauce makes the barbecue. You can take a mediocre barbecue and put my sauce on it, and you got a decent barbecue sandwich. Okay? So, my barbecue is Baby Boy's barbecue sauce. And Ian, it looks like I'm looking down at you. Now, you can edit this out if you like, but it's like I'm not looking you right in the eye. How does that look at the
It's
camera?
fine. You just
Okay.
keep rolling.
All right. So Baby Boy barbecue sauce. I came up with that name because one of my good friends, who's a shade tree mechanic here in town by the name of Petey, and that's not his real name, he started calling me Baby Boy. And he's right. Because on my birth certificate, 1963, my name is Baby Boy Tatum. And then they X'd that out later when Mom and Daddy gave him the name and put Tyres there. So my first name was Baby Boy. So Petey started calling me Baby Boy. And it kind of stuck, and it's a good name for a barbecue sauce. So I'm Baby Boy. Come to find out, a lot of people in 1963, their birth certificates say the exact same thing. Because back then, not like when Ian was born, we gave him the name and we left with the birth certificate and his name on it. It wasn't that way in 1963. So that's where the name comes from. And it's a good barbecue sauce. It's very good. Ian eats it on everything. It's good on a lot of different things. It's good on chicken. It's good on beef. It's good on pork. I can't tell you if it's good on lamb because Ian will tell you I don't eat lamb. It's never. I don't care if it's wrapped in $100 bill. I don't eat lamb. Not going to. I don't like lamb. But the barbecue sauce is good on a lot of things. And the reason why I got into barbecue and why I got into grilling and cooking is several reasons. One, when you cook and you grill, you get to eat first. You don't have to wait. You get to sample everything, and you get to eat first. And I got into barbecue, from long story short, when I student taught at Orange High School in Hillsboro, we made barbecue cookers. Orange County FFA, their claim to fame was making cookers. Everybody had one. Every fire department had a cooker. I've had some of the best barbecue in the world at a volunteer fire department. And they taught me how to make barbecue in Orange County. Okay, now that was in 1986. Fast forward to when I went to work for the state government, I had to go to Orange County. One of my first assignments was Orange County. I had to go meet with a guy by the name of Colonel Nick Waters. And in emergency management, the locals are honorary colonels. So Colonel Nick Waters, the first day I go there to meet with him, and I've got a check for him to give him some grant money, he didn't want to hear it. Waste of time. We sat and talked about the history and the fundamentals of barbecue for 6 hours. And then he said, come back tomorrow and we'll sign this paperwork and we'll take your money. So I had to come back the next day. We still talked about barbecue. Nick Waters, his philosophy of barbecue was simple, which I've adopted. Barbecue is the socialization of family. It's family getting together, having a good time, eat some food, talk about life, play with the kids, talk about the family members that have gone on, and what we want to do next. That's barbecue. Barbecue is family. Barbecue is calling up your friends and say, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Nothing. I'm going to be cooking. Hey, come on over. What do you want me to bring? Whatever you want to bring. That's barbecue. Barbecue is family. When Ian announced he was going to get married, we had a cookout. I bought a cooker. I bought it just for that reason. We were going to make up. We want to do barbecue. His Taylor, his wife, his family, her family came over. We did a great big community-wide barbecue. We invited some other friends. There's probably 40 people here, and we ate. We ate all afternoon. We cooked barbecue, pork, and we did barbecue chicken. We did half chickens. First time I ever used the grill, and the thing worked fantastic. I use a Carolina cooker made in Sanford, North Carolina, and they're fantastic. The cookers are fantastic. Man-made, manufactured from scratch. This is one of the best cookers on the market. And that's how I got into it. From cooking in high school when I was student teaching and getting out and loving to cook. My wife and I, we got a gift when we got married, one of these little bitty hibachi grills. And we drug that thing all over the place, all the way to Nebraska, all the way to Roanoke, and back here, we cooked that thing till we destroyed it. And we wasn't made out of a great metal, but we cooked. We love to cook. And I love to cook everything. We cook vegetables, we cook meat, you name it. We smoke. We love cooking. We love being outside. That's how we got involved.
So let's talk about the show and just, I know a lot of people try to do YouTube and or just put out a product like I'm doing, like with these videos and my football stuff and all that kind of stuff, and that's where people will see this. And I'm gonna push them out to watch our YouTube Barbecue 101. But what made you want to do that and actually be public with it and bring people into your home to see you do that?
Well, we like to talk. The name Tatum means talk. I mean, it means you know how to talk. You have the gift of gab. My daddy could talk to a fence post. You know, I woke up many a time in bed and never knew how I got there. We go to a local store. I'd fall asleep on a bag of pinto beans. Wake up next morning, I was in the bed because my dad would stay up talking all night. And that's what he did. That's what he loved to do was talk. But we all have that gift of gab. But I decided to do the TV show because I just wanted to show people what cooking was all about. It's not hard. There is no right or wrong way to do this. You just get out there and you do it. So we were showing people how to do it. You don't have to have a big cooker like I have. We have probably 4 or 5 different grills in the backyard. I've got 2 Webers, the kettle round Weber grills that I cook on and I smoke on. I like to cook with charcoal and wood as much as I like to cook with gas. It just depends on what I want to do that day. So we just love to cook. We don't have to use the cookers. We'll cook over open pit. It doesn't matter. We just like to go out in the backyard and cook. And again, we like to eat. We enjoy eating. I go and spend time in cooking for other people. I've done weddings. A good friend of ours, the Van Treeses, I've done 2 of their weddings for their kids. And I'm happy to do that. It's my joy. I love to cook. I'll do weddings. So if they want barbecue for the rehearsal dinner or for the wedding reception, okay, we're happy to do that. So maybe I'll get to do the other Van Trees kids. We'll see how that works. But I did it for Ian. We did it for Tyres when he got married. We did it for Aaron. We like to cook, and we like to show people how it works. You know, we tell them everything. We don't hold anything back. You know, have we made mistakes? Absolutely, we have made mistakes. Have we done everything right? No, but we have done, and we learn from our mistakes, and we pass that on to other people. We like to take it on the road. My daughter Lauren lives down in Granville County, down in what we call Buttmore, between Creedmoor and Buttmore. We've gone down there and cooked. We go up to West Virginia to Aaron's house and we cook. We'll go anywhere and cook. We love to do it. It's fun. It really is a lot of fun. And you know, I'll tell everybody this. I'm a lazy cooker. Okay, just like I'm a lazy farmer. Okay, when I cook, I'm watching Westerns. Okay, I go outside and I check the barbecue in between the commercials. So by every 15 to 30 minutes, I go outside and I check the grill. It's a no-brainer. If you're smoking, it's every 15 minutes. If it's a cooker like I've got, all I'm doing is watching to make sure it's still burning and the temperature stays at 240 degrees. That's it. And my catchphrase, and I tell everybody this, if you're looking at the meat, if you're looking, you're not cooking. You can't look at the meat. You don't need to look at the meat. We want the meat to cook. So you don't have to keep raising the hood. When you raise the hood, it cools off, and now it's got to heat back up again. That slows down your cook. So we teach people that, and some people just don't get it. You know, you don't want to come to my house and raise my grill. You're going to get your arm broke. You don't touch my grill. You don't raise the hood.
All right, so transition away, last little thing, because we're coming over time.
Okay.
Let's talk about one last thing, and it's not a scripted question. And I think I kind of want to ask every guest I have on something random, kind of not catch them off guard, but see what they say. If somebody, because I like to give people's advice, if somebody was going through something, and you could give them one piece of advice, it could be whatever you want to tell them. Yeah, they could be going through anything. What is one standard, general piece of advice that you would give somebody?
That's easy. Stand your ground. You say what you want to say when you want to say it. I'm not talking about hurting people's feelings, but don't let anybody tell you what to say. Don't let anybody take your First Amendment right away to say what your God-given right is to say. You have the right to say what you want. I never tell Ian what to say. I've gone to his coaching clinics. I've gone to his practices. I've gone to his ball games. I don't tell Ian what to say, but I'll stand behind him and defend his right to say it. He has the God-given right to say what he wants to say. And don't let anybody take that right away from him. Now, Ian, you got one other question you need to ask me.
What's that?
You're going to ask me about the future. What's the future for me? What are we going to do?
Well, yeah. What's the future going on? What do you have coming up? Do you have future aspirations that maybe you can get into or not? What's going on?
Yes. Well, it's a loaded question. Yes, I've got other things I'm going to do. On my cell phone, I got a ticker. I got a countdown. I'm retiring. 30 years working for state government. December 31st is going to be my last day. So what I'm going to do is simple. I'm going to play with my grandkids. We're going to travel. We're going to cook. We're going to go to restaurants. We're going to do more of Barbecue 101. And I have political aspirations. I have something I want to do. I can't tell you right now. Have me back on your show later, and I'll make an announcement. I'm going to make several announcements, but I have something political I want to do. It's been on my heart to do this for quite some time. Ever since I worked for the Department of Agriculture, I've had this on my plate of something that I want to do, and I'll announce that less than a year from now.
Well, awesome. Well, we're coming up on 40 minutes. That's fine. We talk forever, but all right. So we're gonna wrap it up. One last thing. Do you have any closing remarks? Anything you want to leave us with? Go ahead.
Well, let me just say this. One, I appreciate being on your show, and he's going to have a lot more people come on his show. I'm going to help him get one of the best people he possibly ever have on his show other than me. He's going to get Lieutenant Governor of the state of North Carolina on his show, Mark Keith Robinson. He's a friend of ours. He's going to come on the show. But I want to say this. I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of my kids. I'm proud of Ian because he's doing and living his dream. He wants to be a football coach. He is a football coach. He's not moving fast enough for me. I want him to be head coach of the Clemson Tigers.